Well, welcome back to the Noble Shire of Progressive Discussion here at Progressive Rock Central. Today, we'll be talking with one of my favorite bands out of the UK, the Blackheart Orchestra. These guys have been non-stop since they released their album um, Hotel Utopia. For some reason, I couldn't remember that name. But no, they released Hotel Utopia. It is an extraordinary album. If somehow you haven't listened to this yet, please get up to date because they're working on a new one here. But Hotel Utopia is just absolutely excellent. And thank you, Chrissy Moston and Rick Pilkington, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and discuss the extensive year of touring they've had. We're going to talk about their latest single, Bloodlines, and also talk about the upcoming album. You guys want to say hi first?
Hi,
Good to be here.
thanks for having us again.
All right. So, where did you get the idea for Bloodlines? That title, and it's a fantastic uh, sound, and like I said I did a little review for it, and I hear so much of Kate Bush in Chrissy's voice, and that I always like. I'm a big Kate Bush fan, but go ahead. Where did that title come from?
It's really bizarre. It's like one of those things that the song starts to write itself, and it just kind of it reveals itself to you as we're writing it. We started writing it at a gig actually, and a sound check, and then I finished the lyrics off that night when we were in our Airbnb, or was it early morning, and I couldn't stop thinking about the song and couldn't stop thinking about like the rest of the lyrics, and they just kind of came out and revealed themselves as a song called Bloodlines.
Mm.
But I had been thinking a little bit beforehand about like transgenerational trauma and all the things that get passed along through our our lineage, and I guess it's everything that you expose yourself to, so like a podcast, a film, a conversation. I think it just kind of goes in and then you know mutates into music without you actually sitting down and being intentional about it. We weren't intentionally going to write a song. We just both started playing something. I started playing something on my acoustic guitar, and then you just joined in on piano, and we kind of just went together, didn't we?
That's the way it usually happens. I don't think we ever really come to each other and say, "Oh,
Let's
hey,
write a song.
I've written a song. What do you think of this?" Or they just come from spontaneous moments when we're either rehearsing, which we don't do very much, must I admit, except in front of a tour, or in sound checks where we spend a lot of time just playing around once we've got our sound together. That's our opportunity to have fun, and that's sometimes when the ideas come out. But yeah, it formed very, very naturally.
They're always kind of, I don't know, laying in wait for that moment of flow, and then they will just
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Where when you talk about Bloodlines, it kind of goes back to where are you from, or where did you develop from, or what part of the UK? And I guess I've never really asked you that question, but since we're talking about Bloodlines, where did and yeah, where did both of you come from within the UK, and how did you meet and go from there?
Well, I mean, we're going like family wise, both of my sides of the family were Welsh. So I
Right.
guess they might have come along to like Liverpool and then Wigan, where I'm from, now, where I was born. And you're from
I come from
Bolton.
a town called Bolton.
Do you know where your family comes from?
They come from Scotland actually originally,
Oh.
the Hendersons. And no, I was born in Bolton, which is a town not far from Wigan, where we are now. It's only about maybe 20 miles away, isn't it? So we're both kind of northwesterners, and Wigan and Bolton are both, in old-fashioned industrial towns, cotton towns. Wigan was a mining town, You know, neither of them are very industrial these days, unfortunately. It's all fallen away. And yeah, we kind of grew up not far from each other, but we didn't bump into each other till quite late on. When I was playing in a band, a pretty heavy rock band. You were playing in various bands all over the place.
And we met at a rehearsal
yeah,
room in
yeah.
somewhere called Chorley. And we met there, and then, you know, the rest kind of really was history, wasn't it?
It's just a lucky accident, you know, how, you know, I don't know how it was kind of planned, but, you know, we just bumped into each other, started talking, discovered that we kind of had a lot in common in musical terms, that what we liked, and even though there's quite a lot that I like that you don't like.
Do we though? Do we?
No, maybe not.
I think we just got along. I think we ended up talking about mental health. I think it was something kind of that we got talking about, and it may have been an artist, but I remember the rehearsal kind of got paused whilst we were either debating or agreeing or arguing about something.
Yeah.
And we've not stopped since, have we?
No.
Agreeing, debating, and arguing.
We never intended to form a band. You know, there was no intention of doing that. You know, you were doing your solo thing. I was happy playing in this heavy band, and you know, but we started just playing together in my home, didn't we? And just singing together, and discovered that we really enjoyed the process of making music, and it was very different from what I was doing, and very different from what you were doing, and we kind of enjoyed it. We suggested doing a couple of gigs together, and we thought, oh, you know, why not? We'll just do a couple of gigs, you know, around here. We ended up doing 148 gigs that first year.
Wow.
And suddenly we'd you know, the rocket
I'd say that's love.
had taken off. You know? Oh dear. And here we are.
Yeah, that is, and thank God you did meet. Thank you for everything. And I know I'm not the only one that says that. There's a lot of people that are happy that you guys met and put this thing together. It's wonderful. Tell us a little bit about you. You guys go as far back as you want, but I think this started even last year, towards the end of last year, and then you've carried it through. I think all year, haven't you? You've been touring all year.
We've tried to sort of separate it a little bit, that we're touring in like the spring and the autumn. So we had a little bit of a break over Christmas and earlier in the year, and then we had a break over summer. Well, we say a break, it was only about 2 months, wasn't it?
It's just a break to do different things that we have to do, you know, to plan future tours, to do some recording, to do lots of other activities. It's a very busy life, really. Touring is one of the things we enjoy the most, but it's not the only thing that we have to do. There's lots more other things to do. Every day is a busy day. It's quite a little business to keep going, really.
So we try and have some time off the road so we can get back into the studio to start, you know, recording the stuff that we've been collecting throughout the time.
Yeah, and just planning the future. The future is always like 2 years ahead of today, and you've got to be planning what we're going to do in 2 years' time, and make sure it's all nailed down and neat and tidy. We'll try to.
And by the way, if you haven't seen them in the studio, there's a clip, and I'll add it to the end of this on the YouTube section, where they actually go into the studio and show you how they made the last track on Hotel Utopia, and my favorite track, The Flood, and watch that. And that's amazing too. Thank you for that. It's always nice to see the behind the scenes people like me that love music, and especially it's like, well, this is how they did it. It's really cool. Yeah. So thank you. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say it's really quite difficult, because we want to collect more behind the scenes stuff, but we're always so busy behind the scenes that I'm so pleased that we managed to capture so much.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that we managed to capture so much of that one. We must do more of that, mustn't we?
We must do. But when you're in the studio, your focus is on, you know, what you're doing that moment. You know, there's very little chance to sort of sit back from that and take a photograph of what you're doing, or because we're both so intensely involved in every moment in the studio, aren't we?
And you don't know how it's going to turn out. So I think,
Yeah.
when you look back at it, it's like, oh, it turned out well. But when you're in it, you're like a little bit like, what if this goes wrong? And what if we don't have any ideas? And so it's kind of, it's
a frightening experience being in the studio. It's a really beautifully pleasurable experience when it's going great, but it's a terrifying experience when you walk into a studio and you don't have quite a fully formed idea of where you're going to go. Sometimes it feels like driving in the fog.
You've got a great catalog of music, and you've been touring, as you mentioned, for a long time. But I think this Hotel Utopia really jettisoned you higher than I think you've ever been. Would you agree? Or that, unfortunately, the big magazines and the Prague should have given you album of the year, things like that. You're very close to getting those things, and when the new album comes out, maybe they'll finally understand and do that. But obviously people like it, because you wouldn't have all these tour dates and sold out tour dates if they didn't. So how are fans? Okay, I'm too many questions at once here, Mark. So that in itself, how do people obviously are enjoying the album, but are they singing the songs with you? And go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we were playing a gig in Leicester that we've not played for a while, and towards the end, and when we were thinking of what to play for an encore, everybody was just like naming the tracks that we hadn't played, and it was just so lovely to have people know stuff almost more than we do, because we were like, oh, remember that one, I don't know how to play it, and they're like, we know how it goes. It's
the whole audience was shouting out different songs at us. It was quite overwhelming, but really beautiful. It was kind of a love thing, really, wasn't it? It was so
good to feel that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I do think Hotel Utopia has done us the world of good, and feels like it's introduced us to more people and more people to us. As for prog magazine, I think maybe because we aren't prog, as in, straight and narrow prog, I think it's kind of hard as well, isn't it, to
it might be. I mean, there's definitely an element of prog in what we do, and certainly an element of progressiveness in our attitude towards making music. That's exactly what our attitude is towards, making progressive music, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we kind of have a kind of a slightly broader kind of territory in which we operate. Where other prog bands are a little, I'm not saying narrow as a negative thing, but more focused,
more
kind of attitude to what they want to create, and their music is sometimes built on past progressive music and developing and keeping that past of progressive music alive. Whereas we take that as just one ingredient in the cake that we bake. It sometimes tastes of rock. It can taste of folk or blues or electronic music, lots of different flavors.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just trying to say, I think if they did do that with us, I think there'd be a lot of people who were like, they're so not prog, they're pop trash or something.
I don't think so.
I can imagine everybody get it.
But I understand. I absolutely understand what she's saying, and it's a shame that sometimes they do get, I don't know what the right word is, but snooty about as Rick was saying, pure prog. And yes, there's still a place for that. I love that just like anyone else does. But progressive, just the word progressive means it grows, it's different. It's not, I'm a Foxtrot lover. I love that album, but I couldn't listen to it every single day. You want something more. Yeah.
And these great albums like Foxtrot and like all the great prog albums, they're just milestones in a road of music that we're all traveling on. Now that we want to travel quite fast, and we want to try and, Foxtrot is still one of the milestones in the road that we passed a few years back, maybe, and the Yes album, and all these lovely, wonderful albums. But I think there's something, we're trying to run for the horizon really and see where there is ahead of us. Whereas you know, those legacy albums are the foundations that we've built ourselves on. So very, very valuable albums to us.
What are some of the songs off of Hotel Utopia that you're getting requested? Because sounds like they do that in the audience. Hey, play, Flood, or go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Flood in the set, and we have Tide, and we have Astronaut, and Under the Headlights, and Dangerous Things. So lots of the things that people ask for, but people ask quite often for Dust, and they ask for Translucent.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else is on the album. See, this is where we need. You'll have to pass me the album. That's really
let's get let's see. That was convenient. There's your set list. Yeah.
Oh, that's really funny, isn't it?
But it's great that when we introduce songs, we get a different kind of roar on with each song that we introduce before we play it, which is a fabulous feeling, and it's kind of a judgment as to which are the most popular songs. But we really enjoy playing live at the moment. We always do, but never more so than at the moment. Really, the audiences are getting bigger and bigger every night.
There you go.
The crowds are getting rowdier and more enthusiastic and more lovely every night. It's great. It's just it's just snowballing, I think, at the moment, and it's a fantastic feeling.
It just feels like lots of people are on your side.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And then what happens when you finish, let's say, the Flood, and all of a sudden Bloodlines start? Are they like, oh my God, what's this?
Bloodlines usually comes before the Flood.
That's true. Yeah, that would be your final track, but one of the songs.
Yeah. No, I think, do you know what? I think people are quite open to what we create, which is really nice. We've written the Flood, we've recorded the Flood, we perform it. There's no need for us to write it again. I think people are quite open to us experimenting and maybe bringing in. I think there's definitely a few elements of folk in Bloodlines, with acoustic guitar, and people seem to be really open to it. I think we're really lucky with that people already expect us to be free in that regard. We don't have to put ourselves on a track and that's it, we're on it.
Yeah, I think we're also lucky that we've managed to establish a way of working, a kind of modus operandi that obviously in the studio these tracks can be expanded and made bigger, orchestration, loads of vocals, etc., etc. We love doing that, but when we're playing live we have to rationalize those songs down to we've only got 20 fingers between us. Everything is live. Never ever want to use any backing track to support us, which would be so easy, and but we don't want to do that. We want to keep it absolutely live. So the live versions of the songs often end up being quite different to the recorded versions.
Yeah,
it's really good that our audience
tolerate that too.
They appreciate it. Yeah,
tolerate it. I think they actually enjoy that there are two versions of each song. And I enjoy it too, that there's a different interpretation live, and maybe sometimes a more purer interpretation of how the song was originally written and created before it was expanded in the studio. So we're lucky that I know some people, some audiences, either want to hear the album perfect, they want to hear it live just like it was on the record, and we can't do that.
And they appreciate that extra effort you just described. We're not using pre-recorded stuff. We're doing this. This is coming to you live. It probably won't sound the same when you go to Sheffield or somewhere else. It's going to sound different, and that's what you want. Absolutely. What are some of the other songs? Either from well, let me ask you a different one, and then you can definitely bring up songs from the past that you've done. But are you because I know you guys do this, are you testing any of the other songs off of the upcoming album, and how are they, or do you want to talk about any of the titles, or go ahead?
Yeah, us too well. We always, I think on last count we had 5 new songs in the set, which is a bit.
Oh wow.
5 unrecorded songs.
Is that right?
I think that's 5 or 6.
No, it's not 6. So we're playing one called Night Circus, Stars, Bloodlines, Better Than Me, and Before.
Yes, that's right. 5.
So we're playing 5 new ones.
So 5 out of 14, it's 14 songs in the set. 5 out of 14, and it's nearly a third of the whole set is songs that people aren't familiar with and haven't got at home on a record, which is quite a dangerous thing to do. But gosh, people are loving it, aren't they? They're coming back after the show saying the new songs are their favorite songs, and like they know them already. It's all very, very good. We've got such a fantastic fan base. Can't tell you, the best fan base ever. Gosh.
How far back in the catalog do you go?
We go back to Songs from a Satellite. So before we were the Blackheart Orchestra, we had an album called Songs from a Satellite, which has now come out on vinyl as the Blackheart Orchestra. And we play Hey Pluto from that one, which is like it's really hard to describe.
That's usually our
Just a
crazy
vocal.
encore song. That's our crazy encore song.
Yeah, it's like vocals.
It's almost totally a cappella. You start singing, sing together, and it's very different every night. A little bit of guitar just as a foundation, but it's mostly layering vocals and on top of harmonies, and it's just a vocal kind of, just a massive vocal thing, isn't it? That just ends with a finish, and it's quite dramatic ending. It's a good song to sing every night. We always enjoy looking forward.
And it's different every night.
Yeah,
it is different every night. It's one of those, it's almost a bit freestyle, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have, because it's not verse, chorus, it's this kind of painting with our voices, depending on how our voices feel. It's always fun to do. Always a bit risky as well. I think sometimes it can go wrong.
Maybe that's part of the attraction, that because when we start it, we're not quite sure how it's going to go. Maybe that's the excitement of the song that keeps the spirit of the song going. I don't know.
And do people, and I hope they do, but do people come up to you with copies of the albums or copies of the CDs and maybe have them during the show or show them, or come up to you, want to get them signed, or hopefully.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. It's always lovely to walk out on stage and see a sea of t-shirts
or
with our logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always probably the indication of how good that gig's going to go, isn't it? If it's logos everywhere, as far as you can see, it's going to be they're going to be up for it, and they're our people. But they always are.
Excellent. Boy, I'm really happy to hear that, because you guys absolutely deserve it, and you're making great music, and it should be appreciated. All right. So let's see. What of and I know you don't want to pick any one city, because then but is there one or two or three that just absolutely stun you, shows, or the reaction of fans at certain places?
I think that's really hard, because I feel like we've had such a good run.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to pick favorites. I mean, I guess we have favorite venues sometimes that always feel really, like Bannerman's in Edinburgh is always really lovely. But cities wise, I think we've just had a really good time, haven't we, in every one? Manchester was great the other day. London was great.
Yeah, Leicester was, Sheffield was. Gosh, going back over the dates now.
Arundel was great.
Yeah. There hasn't been a quiet gig, really, has there?
No. So we've been spoiled on this
tour.
tour.
We are being spoiled.
That is excellent. Very good to hear. All right. And this time you've started collaborating. Maybe not, that's probably not the best word, but you've added a few friends that you've met over time. And one of them is Olga Karpova. And I think you guys met her at the Christmas special we had. And you want to talk about that? And she had her own, or she is going to have an album coming out that she crowdfunded. And I know you guys helped, and I know a lot of people helped her get over that financial hump. But what's it like touring with people like that?
Great. Olga's lovely. Like you said, we met her on the Christmas gathering that you did, and then she messaged us afterwards, like asking, if we're touring, and she'd be willing and wanting to come and support us. And we love, having great support acts on the road, don't we? It gives us,
We do.
we love to see them and make friends with them, and she's great. She's really, really great.
I mean, I
Very
think
talented.
I think it's part of our whole kind of, what we do is to try and introduce new artists to our fans. And I think I take great pride in who we choose to open our shows. For the last two tours, we had a girl called Fern McNulty who goes out as called Fox Palmer, and
Yeah.
she's
She's
been
great.
very, very popular with our fans, and it just helps her grow her fan base and gets her off the ground, which is great.
Like people do
And same
for
with Olga,
us, it's the same thing,
yeah,
isn't
it is. People like Hawkwind have helped us enormously in the past
Life.
and Life Science too, of course, by taking us on big tours and helping us grow a fan base out of their fans. So I think it's our duty to do that for acts like Olga and Fern, to give them a new audience to play to, and just to get them going. And Olga's been superb to be opening the shows. Everybody loves her.
Yeah.
She's very, very different to us. The show that she puts on is very unique. Her style of singing is very unique, and her music is very different. And it's going down very well.
Yeah, it is. And she's lovely. She's great to have on the road. Her and her partner are just lovely to be around as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's
I've
been,
been trying to get a hold of that Fox Palmer to see if I can review their music, or
I'll give her
just
a,
hasn't connected. But
I wonder if
we'll
it's
keep
not
looking.
got to her. I wonder if she's
Maybe.
usually really hungry for
Oh yeah.
all kinds of things. She's not got her album out yet, but she's playing with us tomorrow, so we will give her a nudge.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll send you. Well, I think you guys have my email, but yeah, she can just send everything to me. I'd be happy
Yeah.
to do it. If she's a friend of yours, she's got to be good. But I actually did listen to some of her YouTubes, and yeah, she is very good. The band. And then you've also worked with another friend of ours, Nick Fletcher, and the John. I'm going to do this. The John Hackett band. I almost forgot Hackett. I'll never forget that name. He's my favorite guitarist. But no, Nick is a fantastic guy, and he's got a new album. I'm going to be talking with him, I think, next week. But you guys have he's toured with you, right, for one or two shows.
Yeah, we've done a few shows
Yeah.
headlining with the John Hackett band.
Yeah.
How many have we done with them? Like 4?
Half a dozen, maybe something like that over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and they're lovely guys too.
They're great
Nick's
guys.
great. Obviously,
Yeah.
all very talented too. And lovely
Absolutely.
people.
In fact, the drummer Duncan from John Hackett's
yeah.
band opening for us in Sheffield just last week.
Yeah, with Olga.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we've met lots of really lovely people, lovely friends on the road, haven't
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, excellent. And if you get a chance, check out his album.
Oh, don't worry.
If you like jazz,
talking guitars all
jazz
the time.
guitar. Huh?
Me and Nick are talking guitars all the time.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of in awe of his guitar playing prowess. I mean, he must be one of the premier guitar players in this country at the moment. Certainly in the jazz rock field, he must be could be number one. I don't think I know anybody who's above him. So no, he's a tremendous player.
Great. Let's see, we're running out of time. Oh, one last thing. I mean, we're gonna hopefully do another one because there's just a few more things I wanted to cover. But any chance that Olga will be on your new album? Or I mean, you have enough of a voice. It's not like you need somebody, but
We've not really thought about having. We don't tend to use guest